Hello. Hey everybody, and welcome to these videos. It's a series, basically anything that you need to know about the new Xbox release of the sim. We're going to take a bit of footage from each of the streams I've been doing over the last few days, and it's going to focus in on some kind of particular things, be it setting up your controllers, what to do in the sim, where to take off from, and some of the different settings you can use. So I hope you find this series somewhat helpful. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or opinions, do leave them in the comments below. I do read them, and we'll see you in the skies soon. We're going to jump on in here, into the hangar. Look at the state of the livery on this thing. Do you know what I mean? And what I'm going to talk about in a moment is some of the differences we have with some of the aircraft. The nice to know, the should know, and the could know. So there's a few things, if you want to go flying in some of the aircraft that come with the sim, just a bit of advice from Demurf. And what's required and what the aircraft are capable of doing. So for the experienced, seasoned veterans, well, this is going to be a walk in the park for you guys. But for the other people, well, it could be news to them, right? So we have different categories of aircraft in the sim. And we'll start off with the very, very basic stuff. For we have what is known as the very light aircraft or micro light aircraft. And essentially what a micro light aircraft is, it's very slow. It's very kind of gentle. And you won't be doing many things in them. A microlight, for example, the likes of, say, the Diamond DA40. Now, when I say microlight, they're not really, do you know what I mean? But they're an ultralight or microlight. They're a very light aircraft. Therefore, they have, their range isn't going to be massive. Their speed isn't going to be massive, and nor is the performance. So the likes of, say, the Diamond DV20. DA40 is actually a category above that. But the DV20... the Flight Design, the CTSL, the Icon is another one. The Virus, that can go actually a fair bit. The VL3. I won't really say the Cessna 152 because, that can do some mileage. The Top Rudder, the Solo, that is an absolute ultralight. There's only room for you and yourself. And then you have like the Savage Cub and the Shock Ultra. So they're very small general aviation airplanes. And basically, if you want to fly these things, well, you're not going to be able to fly very, very far. Now, the good news is they would have fantastic short takeoff and landing, also known as STOL, STOL, capabilities. It means they don't need massive runways. And in a lot of cases, they mightn't even need a runway. They can land kind of in rough terrain, which is just super cool and awesome. Moving on then, you go to your kind of the light general aviation aircraft, and this would include anything from a Cessna 152 upwards. So basically they tend to be single engine. They can get up to about 12 or 14,000 feet. They'll have a range of somewhere between kind of 5 and 700 nautical miles. To put that into perspective, you could probably fly from the likes of Ireland or the UK, down as far as Spain or certainly parts of France. And we have different configurations of these, not only from their avionics, whereby the Cessna 172, for example, has the steam gauge, as in the analog dials, versus a Garmin G1000 unit, which is a digital avionics suite, which is pretty awesome. But you also have different aircraft configurations in terms of floats and skis, and they are unique to the new world or the new sim update, and also the Xbox release. So they've added in some extra capabilities, meaning you can land pretty much anywhere. You can land on the water, you can land in the snow. It's pretty awesome indeed. Then moving up to the next category of the GA aircraft, you get onto the likes of, say, the Cessna Grand Caravan, which has a lot more power, it has a lot more range, and it's faster. You'd also be moving on the lines of, say, turboprop and twin engine aircraft. So the Cessna 208, the Beechcraft King Air, the Beechcraft Bonanza, the Beechcraft Baron, the likes of, say, the TBM. All of these aircraft are just much more higher performance. The DA62 twin engine as well. So these sort of aircraft are more for your medium range journeys that you're going to be doing. Plus, they're very, very capable IFR aircraft because they can hit the high altitude airways, which is pretty cool. With this, Viper Strike, many thanks for the host. And then last but not least, you then jump into the airliners, for which you get the Airbus A320, which we brought for a jaunt earlier on. You have a Boeing 747, and you also have a Boeing 787. Now, depending on the standard deluxe or premium deluxe versions that you got of Microsoft Flight Sim, that's where they're going to be. Do you know what I mean? So that is pretty much the type of aircraft that you have. Choppers are coming. There's a couple of third-party aircraft available in the sim at the moment, but by and large, you have the ultralight going to the very light. Then you have your general aviation. Then you have more of the heavier general aviation and twin-engine turboprops and all that kind of stuff. Then you have your airliners. And even within the world of airliners, the A320 versus the Boeing 747, huge differences between the two, mainly with their size. But also you have a category which is exclusive to the business jets. They're somewhere in between the GA and the airliners because they're very, very high performance. In some cases, they're faster than some of the commercial airliners. So the likes of, say, the Textron Aviation Cessna CJ4, which is awesome, or also the Cessna Citation Longitude, which is absolutely fantastic. These are, you know what I mean, the endurance on these things, they can fly, in excess of 2,000 nautical miles, which is usually twice that of, say, a turboprop. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool. So it all depends on your style of flying. My advice to you starting off, go for something low and slow. Because the whole idea is the bigger the aircraft or the faster the aircraft, the more complex it's going to be. There's more stuff you got to watch. So if you're going to start off with, say, for example, the Zlin Aviation Savage Cub, it's based on the old Piper Cub, which is ancient, but they just kind of tidied it up a bit. Do you know what I mean? They modernized it. When it comes to avionics, it's you pretty much just start it up and go. You don't need to worry about much stuff, and you just go flying, and it's easy. You compare that to your business jets, you got to program them, you got to set APUs. There's a lot more when it comes to the avionics. And then the last thing I want to talk about is, as you scroll up here, then you have these mad things, the aerobatic planes, for which we have three of them, out of the box. You have the Pitts Special, the S27, that's that red looking dude. You then have a Cap 10, which is down here somewhere. Where you be? It's hiding. If you see it, shout. You have a Cap 10, and then you have the extra 330. These are all aerobatic aircraft. Did I pass the Cap 10? Hang on, we'll have a look for him. There he is there, look. The Robin Cap 10. And these are all aerobatic aircraft. The Cessna 152 Aerobat, that's in there as well. That has, you can spin, you can roll, you can do all this kind of stuff in it. They're just a different kettle of fish altogether. So you can hop into them and just, go nuts. They're great fun. But in terms of flying them correctly, there's a huge discipline on you. It will be fairly difficult mastering them using controllers. You're really looking into kind of your more joysticks and stuff like that. HOTAS systems. But either aircraft you choose, that's entirely up to you. My advice would be pick an aircraft, spend some time in it, learn it, figure out kind of what's good, what's bad, what you like and what you don't like. And the more time you spend in it, the more comfortable you get. And when it comes to like landing and taking off and taxiing and all this kind of stuff, it's easily applied to other aircraft. Once you figured it out on one, you know how to do it. So it's only a matter then of applying that knowledge base to something else.